Hello, everyone, and welcome to our last What's Up Wednesday of 2025, where we have been going live with you on Facebook and LinkedIn every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time to talk about our upcoming 22nd Annual International Human Trafficking and Social Justice Conference coming up in just 2 short weeks on September 17th through the 19th. I can't believe it's already September. We are just 2 weeks away from the conference, and I'm so excited. So my name is Anna Schramm. I am the conference planner working at the University of Toledo's Human Trafficking and Social Justice Institute. And today we have on a special guest, my boss and founder of the conference, Dr. Celia Williamson. So hey, Celia, thanks so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
Yes. So we're going to be talking about the history of the conference with you and what you're most looking forward to at this year's conference. But before we get into that, for anybody who may not know who you are, can you introduce yourself a little bit and talk about how you got started in this work?
Yes, I'm Celia Williamson. Been doing anti-trafficking work and working with vulnerable populations for about 32 plus years. So just got started as a social worker working in my community, and noticed women and then got to know them and found out their stories, and story can really change a person's career. And I couldn't believe that people lived through some of the horrific things that they lived through, and so it really just changed the trajectory of my life. And I've been still very passionate about the work that we do here.
Yeah, well, you've done so many projects and great initiatives over the years. Not only has it been this conference, but you started the first organization in Ohio
Mhm,
about
mhm.
for human trafficking
Yep,
survivors.
yep,
You started our local coalition in Northwest Ohio.
yeah.
You've been so influential in this work, not only in the state of Ohio, but clearly nationally and internationally. So I want to talk about focus a bit on the conference. So we're in our 22nd annual year. So
Yeah.
you started the very first annual one. Well, maybe it wasn't even called first annual. Very first one was in 2004. So
Yeah.
talk to us a little bit about how the conference even got started and what it looked like in those early years.
Yeah, I mean, the first year it was sort of like, we're doing our work, but I'm sure there's other people doing their work all across the country. And what we need to come together. What is that called? Oh, we need to have a conference. Yeah, let's say it's an annual national conference, because we were thinking national at that time. Now it's global. And people were like, we can't do that. Like, who are we? Okay, well, we have to have courage. Like, we have to be afraid and move forward anyway. So let's get a student. Hey, build a website. Say it's a national conference. Let's invite the people. And we did, and people loved it. And they were like, hey, you got to do this again. And I was thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I can do it again, like another year. Because we were already like making copies at different organizations and agencies and hoping that nobody would get in trouble, trying to build materials for people. And so it just grew and grew until people kept saying, you got to do it again, you got to do it again. And so probably about the fourth year I decided, okay, this is probably going to be a thing. And then the world, different countries said, hey, can we participate? And it's like, absolutely. So now 22 years later, I feel like very proud of the conference and what we've been able to accomplish. And Anna, particularly when you came and took this big uh, mess that we had,
No.
we were trying to hang on to all the sides of it, and you sort of put it in a very organized, professional way of going about it. That just makes us look so very good and so very easy for people to access the conference and be able to go to sessions and vending booths that are online. I never heard of such a thing, but you like make it so easy for people to click around and find where they want to go. And so that's really like where the conference got its professionalism from.
I
So
mean,
yeah.
you've always had some sort of like professionalism with it, especially with all of the other, researchers and academics who've been a part of it over the years. But the conference really has lived, I feel like, multiple lives in its one
Yes.
lifetime. I mean, you talk about like there was a name change of the conference, even
Yeah.
though it's still like the same thing. There was multiple people who kind of led the conference and grew it as far as it could go. And then even, 5 years ago, going virtual. So how have you seen that like
Yeah.
development of the conference over the years?
I mean, I feel like it's like a lifespan, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
when I had it, it was very childlike. It was very like trying to just answer emails and make copies of papers, and like toddlers were like just toddling around and falling and, trying to grow, and, and then it became very teenage years, pretty radical. And now I feel like it's matured to a place where we're not talking about human trafficking 101 things. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
do, but now we have sort of beginner information, and we have sort of intermediate information, and we have advanced information. So when people come to our conference, we see them coming back over and over and over again because there are topics that are at the advanced level that help propel what they're trying to do, whether it's practice or research or advocacy or policy work. It kind of helps inform them as well. It never gets stale because there's always somewhere you can learn and grow.
Yeah, it's forever changing and
Mhm.
evolving. And I've been doing the conference for 8 years now. And each year I'm like, okay, next year is going to be easier because I've done all the work. I can just, copy paste and do it. But then there's always something that's like, okay, we want to improve this, or we have a new idea on this, or something always comes up. And I'm like, okay, we gotta keep working. We can't just stay the same. So
Yeah.
excuse me. Well, with this year's conference, is there anything in particular that you're most excited about or most looking forward to?
I mean, it just so happens that last year we did the study, you and I and Boosie.
Oh, yeah, looking back at the conference
Yeah,
over
our
20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were able to analyze that data over 20 years of the conference to see, what have we learned? And really what we started to learn was, instead of moving a lot from the elementary human trafficking, here's what it is, here's what it looks like, here's who's affected or whatever, more to the social justice end of things, looking at systems as well as individual challenges, but looking at systems challenges, looking a lot at the intersectionality. So, not just looking at it as a monolithic one thing, catch all thing. Now it's like, well, how is it affecting, you know, women in this country or men in that country or LGBTQ communities, or even drilling down to the transgender community. Um, and so we're really being able to learn a lot about how we should see the issue. And then that informs like how we should intervene. There's a lot of good studies and evidence-based practices coming out. And so those are the things that most excite me, but I'm still very excited when somebody is brand new and they've done their work and they've earned their spot and they're going to present. Like I love that as well, and I love the lived experience experts and their voices, and I just love the diversity.
Mhm.
And I do have to say again, I love the ease of the conference and the user friendliness of being able to click around and go to places very easily. So I love that as well because that just gives the person a great experience.
Yeah. So we've talked about the past of the conference, present conference, now looking forward to future. Is there anything that you see for the future of the conference, or what you're looking forward to in the years to come?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we are able to bring more countries into the fold because, coming online, we've been able to bring in more developing countries who couldn't possibly fly here when we had it, face to face and in person, but who, needs the information. We're able to interact globally. So somebody in my city, Toledo, Ohio, can interact with somebody in Bangladesh or Colombia, and they find out that we are basically the same. Like this is our tribe,
Mhm.
like this is our kind of a nation. Together we have the same kind of values about human beings, about freedom. And so I'm just looking forward to somebody who comes to the conference, their world getting a lot smaller. The more that they learn and interact with people who may have been foreign to them before, will now be their friends.
Mm.
Like their families matter, like our families matter. Their
Mhm.
freedom matters, like our freedom matters. And being able to interact and really experience that and feel that, um, that's what I'm looking forward to in the future. That we educate people and we educate people to take action and not
Mhm.
just come to a nice conference. So we're going
Mhm.
to have some young people sort of reaffirm that for you too when we have the beginning of our conference and at the end of our conference. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, looking forward to like expanding our family, like for people to find that we're your family. We're here to help you. We have all of these resources and have all of these net connections. And if you join the conference, then you join the family. And
Absolutely.
you I've heard, stories from survivors who thought that their experience was extremely unique and no one else had experienced it. And then they go to a session and they learn like, oh, well, that part of that survivor story is just like mine. I'm not alone. And there's
Yes.
survivor networking sessions, or maybe, yeah, the programming challenges you're having in one state are in the same as another state that's experiencing those same issues. And you can talk and collaborate together on how do you push past this and make these services available. So yeah, just it's one big happy family. So continuing to grow that. But
And
back
I
to,
love,
oh
well,
yeah.
I do love that you said family because, I think this year, I mean, I'm really looking forward to, um, being able to build this community all year long.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like see my family member at Thanksgiving, how they do, but being able to have you come to Sunday dinner every Sunday.
Yes, I was thinking Sunday dinners.
Yeah. So, being able to build that community and build that family even after the conference, I think
Mhm.
that's our future for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. And we've had family members who've been around for decades, and then family members who are just coming in now, and everybody is welcome and important part of the conversation.
Yes.
But
Yes.
back to this year's conference, you are actually presenting a session
Yes.
at the conference, and your session is titled Empowering Incarcerated Women, a randomized controlled trial of the survivor's journey in a women's prison. So you've
Yeah.
been working on this project and you're going to be covering a lot of great information in your session. But do you want to give the listeners a little sneak peek on what you're going to be talking about in your session?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an advanced session. I'm going to be talking about trauma and the
Mhm.
effects of trauma, but not only, not trauma informed care. I mean, like trauma responsive care. And we have the survivor's journey, which is a 12 journey healing process. So very much like AA, where you are going each step by step. This is each journey by journey. And we're going to be talking about healing and healing trauma by going through these 12 journeys. Not only that, but I'm going to talk about how I am involved in a study at the women's prison where I have a control group and an intervention group. And the intervention group is going to go through the survivor's journey, and we are surveying them to see what is happening in terms of their healing journey, their healing recovery. And so far, I've gotten to complete the pre-test. So I'm going to be talking about survivor's journey and what that is. I'm going to be talking about how I set up the study, and I'm going to be talking about some of the findings of the pre-test. And then we're going to be talking about how we're going to have the survivor's journey in our online community called Emancipation Nation Network. And we're going to invite survivors to come in and be a part of the healing journey. And so worldwide. And so I think, that's another part of our future.
Mhm.
And we're going to be inviting professionals to come in through the year, be educated, webinars, community. If you're in your community and there's a handful of people who understand the issue or who are doing something and you're like, man, I feel isolated, we're going to have you come in, we're going to build your skills, and we're going to build your knowledge base, and perhaps you'll be a facilitator of the survivor's journey, because we're going to have a lot of online groups. I mean, that's the future, that's the vision.
Yeah, that's another great way to stay connected to the family all year long, is through
Yeah.
this Emancipation Nation. So I'm excited for that too. And I know your session is going to be great, and it's going to have a lot of great information in there. So if any of you listening want to hear more from Celia, what she's going to be talking about, or any of the other amazing presentations that I've been highlighting on our What's Up Wednesdays over this entire summer, make sure you go to our website, traffickingconference.com/register. You do still have time to register. Registration closes Tuesday, September 9th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern time. I'm very specific with that time, because then at midnight that next day, it ends, it closes. We are not able to accept any late registration. So make sure within the next 6 days, you go to that website, traffickingconference.com, register, be a part of the conference, whether it's your first time or you come in the past. There are always new things that you can come and learn, be a part of the family. You can hear sessions, go to networking events. There's vendor booths, there's art exhibits. We do giveaway prizes. Right. There's the list goes on and on and on. So you do not want to miss out on this year's conference. So again,
let me say, family, we are not going to reopen the registration. So please don't even email us and ask us that. We got to move on, because we got a lot. I mean, there's over 100 presentations going on, vending booths, art. There's all kinds of activity going on. So don't be waking up the next day talk about, oh, I didn't open it back. We're not opening it back up. Come on, family.
Yes. Too many moving parts.
That's right. Please. And your family is asking you.
Yes. And that's why I'm telling you 6 days before. This is not one day. You still have 6 days. So put it in your calendar, write it down, do it today, or set one of those little helpful reminders in your phone to do it before or even on September 9th. Because come September 10th, I'm sorry, you'll have to join us for next year, but get in this year, because there's still time. So Celia, is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap up today and start heading into the conference?
No, I'm just really excited. I mean, the only thing I might say is you might want to check out our community, Emancipation Nation Network, poke around, see what's up, because we are going to be telling you a lot more about it and going to be offering you some great things throughout the year through that community. But I'm so pumped that this conference is coming up, because usually we get a lot of great feedback. People love the conference. They love the sessions. And there's so many sessions for you to choose from. That's going to be probably the frustrating part, is what do you go to right when it's happening. So yeah, I think, just looking forward to it.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because if you do register for the conference, you have access to the recordings for 3 weeks afterwards. So because we have over 110 breakout sessions at this year's conference, it is really hard to choose which ones you want to go to during those live breakout sessions. But you can choose one and then maybe come back to others. So you do have access till Friday, October 10th to watch those session recordings. That's a great way. So you're getting a lot of bang for your buck too at this conference, because you can download the PowerPoint slides and access handouts for even presentations that you didn't attend. So we're trying to give you as much knowledge as possible, equip you with all of these tools, so then we can go back into our communities and our little corners of the world and really make some impactful change. So Celia, thank you so much for joining me today on our last What's Up Wednesday. It has been my pleasure to have joined everybody every week, leading up to our conference, talking to all of our special guests, diving into all of the presentations that we're going to be having at the conference. And I'm just so looking forward to having everybody join us in 2 weeks for the conference. But again, make sure you go to our website, traffickingconference.com/register, so you can attend, register for the conference, join us there. You do not want to miss out. So thank you so much. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone.